Hello students, your instructor here, John Mandela with another screencast. This one, a student asking about blurring. Well, you can blur in Photoshop and you can blur in Flash as well as a number of other programs. These two specifically were being asked about. So if you have an image in Photoshop and you want to blur it, let's say my boy here, and actually what I want to do is I just want to rotate him a little bit more so he's kind of more straight across. He's kind of sitting awkwardly in the sled. He was just kind of laying down in it, but let's just say he's going to be zipping in it left to right. So one thing you do is you can go to, well, I'm going to make a copy of him actually. And then you can go to Filter, Blur, and you can go to things like the Gaussian blur. And you can really have a lot of fun blurring them out and things like this, okay? If you get too much, it gets really fuzzy. If you blur just a little bit, you know, it's like that or whatever. Cancel on that. You can also go to, you know, a box blur, which may or may not be more dramatic. Things like that. Or one of the nice is motion blur. So you can go to motion blur, and you can blur in just the direction you want. So I'll set this angle to 0, although you can see that you can set it at any angle that you wanted. The blur lines will go with that. I'll just set this one to 0. And you can blur a little bit, you can blur a lot, you can be really crazy where it's kind of like these zoom lines. You know, you might have seen like those in ads or whatever. So you can do those kinds of things. And then you would just, if I wanted this one for example, I would just delete this layer. And then I would go to File, Save As. Maybe if I want to put it in Flash, I might choose something like a ping file. You know, call it boy sled, motion, blur, ping, save that, and hit OK. See, it's really all blurred out. It's pretty indecipherable actually. I can bring it here in a Flash. We can hide this layer for now, but I made a new layer, and I called it blurred PSD, meaning blurred from Photoshop. I could do this, and I could do that. It comes in and it looks like that. Now I notice his edges are cut off crisply. I'd have to make my canvas size much larger in Photoshop so that doesn't happen. But I could do that kind of thing. Now that, I guess, is not what you wanted. What you probably wanted is this. So you have a boy already in here, and actually again, I'm going to rotate him a little bit so he's more straight across like this. And let's say I want to zoom out a little bit. I want it to look like he's zooming into the page, but he's blurring, and then he doesn't have a motion blur anymore. So what you can do, anyways, what you can do with him is click on him, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, convert him to a symbol, and I'm going to call him boy sled. Hit OK, so I can see now he's not just a ping, he's a movie clip. And then I'm going to go to properties and filters. I'm going to go to, this is off the screen, but I'm going to go to blur. And normally your blurs will be connected, so if I blur like this, it kind of just blurs all together. I want this to be unconnected. I want the Y blur to be set at 0 in this case, and the X blur to be set at a whole bunch. Maybe like this even. That's good. And then maybe at 30, what I want, maybe let's go like 45. Insert a keyframe, and all I'm going to do is move him into position here. And I'm going to take his blurring all the way down to 0. And then I'm going to right click and classic tween this. You could also do this with a motion tween, it doesn't really matter. You can see what's going to happen is he's blurring, and then he gets less and less blurred the closer he gets to that point until he's finally in that spot, not blurred. Alright, so that's something you can do. Also something you can do, if you're clicked in here and you go to the properties, not on the object but in the actual timeline, if you open up the tweening thing, is normally closed like this. You open that up to the ease, and you can set that ease really high, and what will happen is it'll try to ease him in, so it's not just like very robotic, but it'll be more ease. Let's see if we can test that out. I know it's be choppy when it plays back, but you see how it kind of smoothly comes to a stop because of the ease. It's not just, you know, rapid right to a point. It smoothly comes in. So that's one way you can do motion blur type things in Flash.